Hello, everyone, and welcome in once again to a new episode of the Spittin Fax podcast. I'm Ethan Spazarski, and yes, play Eminem because he is back. Joey Brando has found his way back onto your computer screens and into your hearts as well, folks, because the boys are back in town here. Spittin Fax reunion is officially official. Ethan Spazarski, Joey Brando here bringing you everything you need to know in the world of sports that we know and love. And right now, it is all things NFL, and that's proven to be a guaranteed fact. Joey, before we get into it, how does it feel to be back on the stage right now? Amen to that, my guy. So we'll get right back into it. Waste no time, no hesitation whatsoever. What's new? The latest news, and in the NFL, primarily, there's only really one storyline right now that is taking over the NFL, as we are merely less than 24 hours away from kickoff season, and that's the Micah Parsons trade. Micah Parsons was traded from the Dallas Cowboys to the Green Bay Packers, and as well signed a record-breaking deal, making him the highest non-paid quarterback in the NFL, averaging $47 million a year. His contract is 4 years, 188 mil, 132 of which is guaranteed money. The Packers only had to give up two first-round picks in defensive tackle Kenny Clark in exchange. So first, Joe, before we really dive into anything else with divisional standings now, what's your instant reaction to this trade, and how do you feel that it's working out for the Packers? Honestly, I feel like Cowboys fans would rather just have Jerry Jones side them from everything that seemed. It's like, Jerry, pull the trigger. This is an obvious thing. This has been pretty much a year in the making, especially with when he got drafted. You knew the talent he had, you knew the potential he brought. And now people were like, all right, sign the guy, give him his money. It wasn't a question of if he was going to get his money, it was a question of when. And I guess the factor not a lot of us were expecting was the who. Because, like with Brandon Ayuk, months and months and months went on, and it was months and months of teasing of, oh, it's the Patriots, then it's the Steelers, no, it's the Commanders, no, it's back to the 49ers. And he stayed. And he ended up staying. So the longer this went on, the more I was like, okay, it's going to get done. The last couple of holdouts have ended in them just the players getting paid. And this is the first time in a hot minute, especially with this year's holdouts, that you didn't see that. So I think Micah Parsons getting that much money is definitely eye opening to see. It's crazy to see. I definitely don't think it hurts Green Bay at all. I think where Dallas can really benefit is if they take full advantage of this opportunity. because the Cowboys need to rebuild. With or without Micah, there need to be changes. Dak's going into his 10th year with only 2 playoff wins. They have no consistent running back in the backfield. Now, they do have a potential two-headed monster with CD and George. George is unproven in Dallas yet, but I think we can imagine he'll just be A-okay. CD, of course, as we know, is an absolute stud of a human being and an NFL athlete. So I guess for right now, Dallas fans, there's a lot to hold out on, and honestly, they could have gotten a lot worse. Kenny Clark's not a bad asset. 2 first-round picks are good. I think both sides benefit, but the Packers' contending odds just went up a lot. And I know last week I just did my NFL divisional rankings, but it's a little silly now because I had Packers behind the Lions by 1 or 2 games. I think finishing second in NFC North. Micah Parsons could easily change that with a Detroit Lions team with 2 new coordinators. Exactly. And speaking of the Cowboys, this will transition us perfect into kickoff. I alluded to it earlier. The kickoff is here. It's time to kick off the NFL season. I know we are all very, very excited for that, and that's with the Eagles and the Cowboys, which will be when this is posted later in the evening. We're recording this on Wednesday, so it will be tomorrow. But nonetheless, it's finally here. The day we've been waiting for. 200 plus days of off season are officially over. It's time to get started, and it's with the Eagles and Cowboys in the NFC East rivalry, a top 5 NFL rivalry, arguably in the NFL. Period. But right now, we'll quickly talk about the games and get to our game picks. To me, Joey, I think this is an open and shut case. Simple explanation, nothing else needed. Micah Parsons is out, as we just talked about. And again, while I think Dallas has definitely could have gotten a lot worse on this end of the deal, to me, it's pretty answer who's going to win this game. Exactly. To me, it's open and shut. For game picks, I think it's pretty simple. I got Eagles by probably 20 points. Yeah, I was going to go a route of 42-20, somewhere in that range, but overall, pretty similar answers. Nothing crazy, nothing insane expected there. I think it's pretty open and shut. We dive into it more, but honestly, I don't think there's nothing else to talk about in that fact. But there is something. Well, speaking of explaining, it's time to talk about some AFC football. Now we are flipping the page again. NFC was last week. We We had a lot of the news pertain with NSC teams. I talked about my conference previews, and then some divisional stuff. Well, it's time to break down the AFC. And Joey, I saw some interesting things with you, and we'll talk one division at a time. But first, I'm gonna flare your graphic because this is interesting. We're going to start with the AFC West because, like the NFC West, I think there's a lot to be talked about and broken down with. So let's flare it here. All right, talk to me about your divisional picks in the AFC West. I understand that there's a reason to feel that way. I think I was originally on that bandwagon with you. The Chargers, I thought they had a last step, but the more I thought about it, the more I dug into it. 9 straight years is just something I can't look past. Something that just is something I think is hard to break. And although I do think the Chargers do end up in the playoffs, I am going to stick in the AFC West with the Chiefs being divisional champs. I think Chiefs, Chargers 2, Broncos 3, Raiders 4. I think the division's still really good. I think the ceiling for the Raiders is very potent. There's a high potential there. Ashton Genty, Geno Smith, that's a great combination. You got a better coach in there. For the Broncos, they didn't beat any playoff teams last year. A lot of their wins came to struggling teams. I do think they improve overall, but that's the part that scares me. Chargers and with Herbo, they got a lot going for him. And then Harbaugh in his second year with teams, he's known for historically being a fantastic second year coach. But overall, I just can't look past the Chiefs. You understand that. It's something that's just so hard to do because of what they do every year. They get you in, they buy you in, they get you optimistic, and then they just go out and do what they do best. I think could be a 13-win team this year, so I'm going to keep the Chiefs as the AFC West winners. I think there's a lot of interest there, and again, I think back and forth Chargers Chiefs is a definitely acceptable debate, something that we both can agree is a very fair possibility. But let's move on now to the AFC South. This division a lot more lackluster, a lot more, not really too much into it. So talk to us now about what you have here. Yeah, I agree. I think CJ Stroud right now. I don't think Texans are going to win Super Bowl or anything, but right now with where they at, I think they should be the odds-on favorites because new coach in Jacksonville, new situation down in Tennessee, new with Cam Ward, new franchise guy, and no one knows what's going on with the Colts. It's just a fat question mark. The horseshoe is a big question mark as well. I think the only real difference is that Colts and the Jacksonville spot for me. I'm not buying into the Colts whatsoever. I think at best they're a 4-5 win team maybe, but to me this is the Texans division to lose, and I think they proclaim it again. These records are based off of ceilings at absolute best. Not saying that's officially going to happen, but we both have ceilings in there. And to me, I think C.J. Stroud gets over that sophomore slump. Now, if Tank Dell was in there, I'm a lot more confident. I think there's a lot more greatness behind that, but right now, still a few question marks. But I think the Texans do handle their business, despite Jacksonville, Tennessee potentially having some pretty good years as well. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of advancement needed for the Colts, and I think Josh Downs is definitely a high point for that team. Someone to look forward to. I think Jonathan Taylor still has the potential to remain where he is, but overall, yeah, I think at the best, there's not too much with it. You have a ceiling of 6 wins, I have a ceiling of four, potentially five, so pretty much in a close area with that range as well. But now let's shift to the AFC East, where it's pretty unanimous. Another obvious answer with the Buffalo Bills. Yeah, I completely. I think that's a very fair take. I think there's a lot to be excited for. I'm still working on here in the last couple hours of Super Bowl winners and who makes who, but for me, I think Bills are another 13-win team this year. Josh Allen's continuing to do what he does. I think the team around him got better from last year. Uh, Talking about the Patriots real quick, I think they're moving in the right direction too. I think unlike the Pittsburgh Steelers, we're actually seeing some sort of progression, some sort of care, some sort of effort towards putting together a team for the future. And Drake May is leading in that right direction. The receiver room is obviously the biggest question with the Patriots so far and what's going on. And now I know Stephon Diggs is there, so that's a positive light. But overall, I think the Patriots have a really good chance to make a 6 or 7 seed wild card team in the playoffs this year. And the Dolphins and Jets, another two teams I'm not too hype on. I'm not too excited. I don't see a lot with it. I'm gonna say it's ceiling at best. Miami's like an 8-win team. Jets could be a 6, maybe probably 5-win team overall. But I think we're finally seeing the Bills are really being put together. And I think the problem is if you don't do it this year, will you ever do it? Period. Because Mahomes and Reed versus when it comes down to it with McDermott and Allen, there's if it doesn't happen this year, will it ever happen? And I'm starting to get scared. So after this year, I think there's reason to panic, despite the continuous success. Yeah, that was the big problem last year was Garrett Wilson, and he just, I mean, it stinks because he is a very talented receiver who's day in day out continuously making highlight reel plays, and you're not getting any results with it. Where do the Jets start moving forward? They thought it was with Aaron Rodgers; those 2 years go down the drain. Shift from Sala over to Glenn. I think this year we're going to have to see some answers, kind of like a Chicago Bears kind of situation. I think it's time we start to see some answers, and I think we will. But the reset button was hit, and they're back to square one. And I think this is square one for the Jets right now. Exactly. So, final division, biggest one of them all, the behemoth of all divisions. I need to know your explanation right now because this is blind boggling to me. Cincinnati winning the division is crazy. Try to explain that to me, please. All right, I'll have to take your word for it. I completely disagree. I think overall the defense is lackluster. I think obviously there's a lot left to be desired there. I do think this offense could be a premier offense, something that could be unrecognizable and insane, something I haven't seen since LSU. Because I think obviously have pretty much the quarterback and the number one receiver is still there. But for me, I'm all in on the Ravens this year. I think really they have finally put together a piece by piece roster, and I think they came close last year. If there's any year again, kind of like the Bills, they have to do it this year, or else there's going to be a lot of more doubt too because you've had Henry there for 2 years. Lamar's still no playoff success. The defense is solid. I think it's one of the more equal teams in the AFC North. I just need to see it, and I think it's going to happen. I don't think Joe Burrow is going to be able to put up 40 plus points every game. That's not fair for a quarterback to do. So I think with equal balance spread throughout, the Ravens have a better chance. I think the Bengals and Steelers have a lot of similarities in the fact of both have one really good side of the ball that's like, all right, we know, and the other one's the big question mark. So I have a question mark for the Steelers offense for me. We all know the Steelers offense, the defense can be solid and fight and continue. But I think the neutral consensus is we both know, yeah, we know the Browns are going to finish last. This is how it is for me. I think again, Ravens could be a 14-win team. Steelers and Bengals both between a 10 and 9 win team overall. I think that's a fair put there. And at best, Browns win six. Honestly, there's a good chance they don't even win six. But I'm all in on the Ravens where you are for the Bengals. Sure. Yeah, to me, I kind of how you feel about the Bengals. Again, I think it's just that offense is going to be able to consistently. I think they can. I think we're going to be the best offense in the league, arguably. But I'm not buying in on it. I think the Ravens, for me, are where they are now. They're kind of like the Bills of the AFC North. Just I think there is a good gap between second and third place for the AFC North. But that's going to round it off. One more time, I'll throw up the final predictions. Again, records are all based on ceilings, absolute best scenarios. However, the standings are what they are. There is Joey's. Take it in, breathe it in, love it, soak it in, make fun of the Bengals pick, whatever you got to do. And then for me, there's mine. We have two different divisional winners, the AFC North and the AFC West. AFC East and South, though, we do agree on that. I must admit, you and I, for a long time, with a lot of the early PYC, or not PYC, wrong show, for Spittin Fax, agreed a lot. So seeing this is very reassuring for me. Exactly. Could not agree more. I think you hit the nail on the head there. What's going on there? But now it's time to lock in, and we have 5 minutes left. Speed run our award predictions, and I'm a silly goose. I forgot to make a lower throw for it, so I apologize. But speed run of all of our award winners. Joey, go ahead and go first. Go down the line, starting with MVP. crazy idea. Well, I will say this: there's only one player that we agree on, one award, and that's MVP. I think Joe Burrow, if the Bengals make the playoffs last year, has to be MVP. Unfortunately, it's based around team success too. It's a quarterback award as well, but we both agree MVP should be Joe Burrow. This year is gearing up to be arguably one of the greatest quarterback seasons of all time, passing stats and all. For me, offensive player of the year, Jamar Chase. Are you kidding me? As much as Joe's been hyped up, I think Jamar's been hyped up almost as much as him with what he can do. The last 3 years has been an elite wide receiver. Last year was one of the best in the league. I think he does it again. And if Saquon Barkley doesn't go for 2,000 yards, Jamar Chase is offensive player of the year. I don't think you could argue that. Comeback or defensive player of the year. I tried something a little different. I doubt this will happen, but right now in the preseason, and what I'm feeling, I have Aiden Hutchinson as my decoy and my comeback player of the year. From what I've seen, from everything I've heard, the research I've done, it's pointing Aiden Hutchinson. Dude was on an electric, historic tear last year before he tore his ACL and was out for the season. I think he's due. Ring the Undertaker bell. He is big time due. I'm really excited to see what he does too, especially with the new coordinator. Offensive rookie of the year. We both went outside the box. I went Ted McMillan. I really think he's going to be something special. I think Ted McMillan is going to be a very good wide receiver. I think he's going to complement Bryce Young really well. I think the Panthers, I said, could be a 6-win team this year. They were 5 wins last year, and because of the last 3, they're really locked in. If you have a more consistent year instead of just the second half of the year, Panthers could win 6 games, and Ted Millen could be at the front of that with thanks to Bryce Young. Moving down, defensive rookie of the year, I think Abdul Carter. I apologize. There are 2 awards we agreed on, Abdul Carter being the other one. Odds-on favor right now on this Giants defense that already has 2 or 3 different defensive guys that you should be double-teaming. Dexter Lawrence, Brent Burns as well, Kayvon Thibodeau. Now you put Abdul Carter there. That defense could be very lethal despite their difficult schedule. Coach of the year, kind of like a D'Amico Ryans, except not the getting snubbed part out of this award. I'm going to go Mike Vrabel. He's going to put the Patriots back into playoff contention. I think they're a one-and-done team or win one playoff and be done. But I'm very excited for Mike Vrabel. I think he's really going to push the Patriots in the right direction. And, now we have 1:20. Any closing remarks, Joey? Match made in heaven. Well, we got probably about 30 seconds left. I don't know. We have less than a minute. Joey Priano, Ethan Spazarski, we appreciate you as always. Let's enjoy some NFL football. Is back. We'll be back next week with our weekly predictions and game picks as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you as always.